what's up, guys? Heading to a friend's house. His name's Greg. He's running he does satellites all the time. He has 2 poker tables at his house. And what he usually does for the World Series of Poker is he has 20 players. He does 10 games, 10 different small 20-player tournaments, and you accrue points for how you do each tournament. So say you get first, you get 150 points, something like that. You get last, you get 5 points. So whoever has the most points at the end gets a seat into whatever tournament we're trying to get into. So usually it's the main event, WSOP main event. This one is for the WPT at the Wynn in December, the 10,400 buy-in. So each of us puts up 1,200. There's only 17 or 18 players. We couldn't get to 20, unfortunately. And it's a mini series, so we're only doing 3 games, and then there's one last chance tournament. So
in 1,000 feet, turn right.
After the end of 3 games, whoever has the most points gets 1 seat. Then, unfortunately, we don't have enough money in the prize pool for the second seat. So in the last chance tournament is just for cash. You can still go to Vegas, but I think you only get maybe 8K instead of the 10K. So you really want, the first place. You really want the...
Turn right on Granite Springs Road.
It's a different format. It's more about... It definitely changes your strategy a little bit. Some people play way too tight. Some people play way too loose, as usual, but... yeah, you're trying to get, top...
In 1.1 miles,
if you finish
turn right on Crompton Road.
in the 3, you're probably a lock to win. So you're looking at the final table, and you're looking to... Anything worse than the final table is not worth your time. You need to ladder up when you get to the final table and get higher spots. Oh, it's pouring outside. But, yeah, so this is going on for the next month. And then the last chance is, I think, November 4th. So hopefully we can do well. There's some good players in the league, some tough players. But, yeah, it'd be nice to, I think there's a chance I might go to Vegas either way. They have, a lot of nice tournaments, some mixed events, some other stuff. There's a 1,100 buy-in, 5 million guarantee right before the 10K buy-in. The 10K buy-in is a 40 million guarantee, so people are going to come out of the woodwork for that one. So hopefully we do well. Yeah, I don't know if I'll do constant updates after the breaks or what I'll do, or just do hand reviews later. He also does a live stream, which is cool, so I can hopefully incorporate the live stream maybe into some of the vlog. We shall see. All right, hopefully we run well. As you can see, this is the points breakdown for the league. I was a little off earlier saying that first got 150 points. So first place gets 75 points. And then basically last, I think ended up being 18 players in the league. So if you finish 18th, you get 3 points. So pretty significant difference. Yeah, obviously, as you can see, you want to make the final table. Not making the final table. I mean, if you miss the final table once, you're kind of going to be in trouble. So you need to finish top 5 in the 3 games to really have a shot. Or at least, say if you get 2 top 3 finishes, that puts you in really good position, and you could have maybe 1 bad finish, or not bad, but middle-ish finish. And then on the right, it says the last chance points. So that's basically, so there's a 4th tournament. So you play the 3 tournaments, and you accrue points for each tournament, and then one player gets the WPT seat. The rest go to a last chance tournament where there was cash prizes at stake. So based on your finish, you accrue points. You accrue chips for the last chance tournament. So yeah, so even if you don't win, you still want to put yourself in a good position and get some chips for the last chance. Oh, I also think he only did after subtracting the top finisher. the next 10 players make the last chance tournament for this league. In his usual WSOP league, I think everyone makes the last chance. But in this one, he just did it was just top 10. So this is the point breakdown. All right, let's get to the, go over some hands. All right, here's the first significant hand. Well, to start, I think we started with 25K starting stack. Oh no, 30K starting stack and 25-minute levels. So the first significant hand, the blinds are 200, 400. And I opened to 900 with ace-9 suited. I believe it was ace-9 of diamonds. Sorry, my note-taking wasn't great throughout this tournament. Early position raise. Jason calls the next act. The button Clive calls, and Anthony calls from the small blind, and Brennan folds. So we're 4 ways to a flop. At this point, I think I have about, I had dwindled down a little bit from starting. You know, I think I had a tough start to the tournament. So I'm probably somewhere in the 20s at this point. Maybe like low 20s or so. Flop comes down 9 high. I'm not sure of the other 2 cards. I can't see the board. Usually he has something that magnifies the board. I think he put it up for the other 2 games, but I cannot see what the board is. But it's 9 and 2 babies. I'm not sure if there was a flush draw or not, but it looks like I continue for 1500. I get 3 calls, so I'm guessing there was a flush draw. If I get 3 not snaps, but so turn is a beautiful ace. I believe it. Ace of clubs. So I play tricky here, kind of hoping that someone behind me floated with an ace and they're gonna bet, and that's what ends up happening. The button Clive jams pretty, you know, about a pot-sized jam, maybe more. About a pot, around there. Maybe a little less. I think he bet, I think it was 8,900 he jammed for. I mean, yeah. And Anthony quickly calls. He doesn't seem like he's too strong when he's so quick to call. But I believe I said I was worried about pocket 6s at the end of the hand. So I get the flop was probably like 9-6 deuce, 9-6 3, something like that. Pretty harmless flop. You know, you're worried about a couple sets, but, you know, obviously I block top set. I think about it for a bit, and I end up jamming. Jason folds, and Anthony, you know, Anthony has a little funeral for his hand before folding. Yeah. Jason made a funny remark saying that's a good game, Clive. Basically, so Anthony ends up folding, I think he said ace-jack. So he had a couple outs. I mean, I would have taken a call from him too, but I think Clive is drawing dead. I think he had like a weak ace. I want to say like ace-4 or something like that. So yeah, he can't win. River's meaningless. Yeah, so after this pot, we move up to, I think, about 48,000 or so, 45 to 48,000, somewhere in that vicinity. So a nice hand to get us going. At this point, I think we're down to 13 players. I got moved to the other table to balance the tables, and I think I lost a couple small all-ins. I think 7s to king 10 and ace 10 to queens. But I think we were still in like the 50s. The blinds are 500, 1,500 when this hand comes up with a 500 ante. Frank raises the cutoff 3,500. I'm in the big blind. Frank's a very aggressive player. He opens a lot of pots. Probably was the chip leader at this point overall. I have ace 10 of hearts in the big blind. I defend. Flop comes down 3, 4, 7 with 2 hearts. Check it over to Frank. So I flopped a nut flush draw. Yeah, I have a big range advantage as the big blind on this flop. Frank's the type of player that's gonna pretty much continuation bet about 100% of the time when it's heads up and you check to him. He pretty much never checks back. So he could have anything. He bets 3,500. And I think about it over for a little while. I consider raising here. Obviously can. I have the big range advantage. Yeah, he could have some sets. Obviously, he could, but the type of player he is, he could have the 2 pairs also. So I don't have that, or 5, 6. So I don't have that huge of a range advantage against him. Other players I would. So I just decided just to call. Turn is the 9 of hearts. I could lead this card, but I decided to check it. He doesn't let me down and fires 7,500. He thinks about it for a little bit. He's usually the type of player to act pretty quickly, but he thought this through for a bit. He's probably a little worried. I could have some hands like 2 pairs or flushes, obviously. But I decided to just play it as a call instead of raising. He's the type of player that'll barrel here with a lot of hearts, ace of hearts, king of hearts, queen of hearts, offsuits, type hands. So I figure let him keep hanging himself, or if he has a made hand, an overpair, he's going to keep betting, obviously, too. River's the 8 of hearts. So brings a 4 flush out. I check it to him pretty quickly. And he fires, I think, 17-5 or 15-5, something like that. I don't think about it for too long. And I end up jamming. He obviously hates it. He ends up having queens with the queen of hearts, so he had the 3rd nuts. He ends up laying it down. He asked me what I had. At first I showed him the 10 of hearts to needle him a little bit. And then I showed him the ace. But yeah, we chipped up nice on this pot. And got back up to, I think we had 87,000 after this hand. At this point, we're at the final table, and we're down to 6 players. I believe I was either 2nd or 3rd in chips of the 6 at this point. There's a couple really short stacks, so it kind of makes it awkward, where it makes it tough because these are where the big points kind of come in. So I kind of had to outlast these people, so I played some hands a little passively. Kind of had to, I think, where if I played them fast, I could have gone bust. Right before here, I had just called a raise with ace-king from Frank under the gun. I was in the small blind. Brendan comes along, flop comes king high, I check it. Brendan bets. Frank calls, I think it was like a king-jack, low card flop. And then I'd rip for like 50,000. Just to take it down there. Brendan ended up folding a king. Yeah, I think I said he had king-queen or king-10, something like that. But this hand comes up with 6 left. I probably have about 100 or a little less maybe at this point. Frank makes it 11K first act. And I look down at ace-queen offsuit. I obviously defend. I could rip here, but this might be a better play. But there's a couple stacks that only, like Hector in the 6 seat probably only has like 10 big blinds, and Tony has less, the 1 seat. So Oh, and also the 2 seat. The other guy sitting is Greg, who runs the game. He had already been knocked out. But there's 3 really pretty short stacks, so I kind of got to play a little, a little tight. Flop is a beautiful one. It comes down ace, ace, deuce with 2 spades. I check it to him, and Frank checks back. Turn is another spade. I believe it was the 5 of spades. So I decided to check again. Frank now starts betting. He bets 12,000. Kind of similar to the other hand we're going to call to keep his bluffs in. If he has an ace, it's just weird that he actually checked this flop. But because he's supposed to really kind of range bet when 2 aces come out. He's the pre-flop aggressor. He should have aces in his range, but he opened so many pots and he knows I'm playing tight, so he knows I definitely could have an ace. So that kind of weighed in, and that's, I'm sure, why he checked behind on the flop. My guess is he picked up like a flush draw here. He probably has one spade in his hand, maybe something like Queen X of spades, King X of spades, Jack X of spades, Jack X with his Jack of spades, I mean Queen X with the Queen of spades, yada yada. I just call, and in the river is a brick. I forget what the river was. It looks like it's a diamond. Say like a 7 of diamonds, something really bricky card. I checked him, and he pretty quickly fires out for 30,000. I don't really see a lot of reason to raise here. Looks like I maybe have about 70K behind, so if I call and I'm wrong, I have about 40K left, so only about 10 bigs. So I figure there's a decent probability he's bluffing. He could have a flush. He could check back a flush draw on the flop. But we ultimately decide to think about it for a while and ultimately decide to call with the ace-queen. So this hand gets us up to, I think, over 150, or maybe a little less, 140, 150K. So we're in pretty good position at this point. We're second in chips, just kind of hoping that some players drop out. Tony gets knocked out not long after that hand, and we're down to 5. It's me, another Rob, Brendan, Frank, and Hector. Hector and the other Rob are really short. And then me, Frank's his chip leader still. And then me and Brendan are pretty close, I think. Frank then takes out with the other Rob. He raised something like, I forgot the exact hand. I think it was like Queen 2 or Queen 4. And Rob gets it in with ace queen, and Frank binks whatever his other card was, deuce or 4. So now we're down to 4. The blinds are still 4,000 with a 2,000 ante. It was a pretty quick final few players. I think Hector had something like a pair. It was like I think it was a limp pot, Jack 3 deuce. Brendan flopped the Jack. I think he had like King Jack, Queen Jack. Hector had a 3, and he jams, and he takes Hector out. So now it's down to 3 players, me, Frank, and Brendan. Brendan jams something like Jack 7 suited or something like that. Jack 8 suited, I forget. But Frank calls him with ace queen and ends up holding. So going in the heads up, I think there's almost 500,000 in play. 30, maybe a little less. 30. Brendan flopped a flush draw or something and missed, but Frank probably had me like 2-1 heads up. Something like that. And then the heads up doesn't last too long. We trade a couple pots back and forth. And the final hand, I pick up pocket kings. I raise it up to 14,000. Frank defends. Yeah, it was a Jack 5-7 flop with 2 spades. He checks to me. I think I bet 12,000 or somewhere between 12 and 15, and he just rips. He has Queen 7 of spades, so he has a pair and a flush draw. Spade right in the turn. I believe it was the 3 of spades. Game over. Yeah, the hand kind of played itself. It was a 50-50 spot. So nothing I could do. So yeah, good first game. We got 64 points. Frank took 75 with the lead. But good start. First game is in the books. We finished second. We did well. Second out of 18, so it ended up being 18. A guy ended up showing 2 hours late, 2 hours in, and of course he won. Good old Frank. Frank's a good player, but ran pretty well. Final hand, I had pocket kings against Queen 7. He had a pair and a flush draw and hit the flush on the river. It's pretty much like 50-50. Final table was, I was probably either second or third. I think I was second in chips going to the final table, and Frank was a couple to my left. Just to go back earlier, I was pretty card dead, and then I got in the ace-9 hand where I flopped pair of nines multi-way, and then turned an ace for aces up, button jammed the short stack, and then that kind of got me going. And the small blind called, but then folded when I jammed. That hand got me going, and then another hand with Frank at the other table with the ace high. When I make the ace high flush, if I play the hand a little differently, I probably could have taken Frank out. But yeah, if I raise the flop, he probably just calls, and then we might get it. We'll probably get it in by the river or maybe on the turn. So that was a little frustrating, where a missed opportunity where I could have taken him out, a good player out, and built up a big stack. You know, it's still a nice pot that it got me over, I think, almost to 90K. Going in the final table, I had like between 80 and 90. Had to really kind of pull like slow play hands and not just the table dynamics with a lot of short stacks. Like a lot of people had like 40K or less, or even less than that. So a lot of people just hovering around with like 10 bigs, 5 to 10 bigs. So I kind of had to wait them out. A couple times I just flatted like ace king, ace queen, and then Frank put me in a tough spots. A couple times I flatted jacks. So just the format, you really need the top 3, top 4 finish. So going out like 7th or 8th is not going to really do it for you, especially with only 3 games. So I kind of knitted it up for a bit. I kind of had to in my position. But then we got 3-handed, me, Frank, and Brendan, and I played well. I definitely caught some cards at the right time against Frank. Like aces, he flops 2 pair, 10s and 9s, 10, 9, 7, and 7 turns. So I have aces up. I think a 4-card straight came on the river, or else I could have went really big. So yeah, I think a jack came on the river, so an 8 made a straight, or else I bet 25K on the river. He pretty much called instantly. And yeah, I think I had aces a couple times shorthanded. Then Brendan goes out, Frank takes him out, and then we didn't play heads up for very long, maybe 10 minutes. And then I got the kings, pocket kings on the button. Frank has queen 7 of clubs, just flop his jack 10-7, 2 clubs. He has a pair and a flush draw. I bet he just snap jams, and I just know he never has a nutted hand here. You know, he never has a set or a straight or anything like that. But probably figured like some sort of combo draw, and that's what he had. Couldn't fade the river, and we get second. So I think we get like 64 points for second. First gets 75, so got to keep it up. Next game is next Friday, so hopefully we can, keep it going, and get at least like a top 5 finish again. All right, till next time, guys.